Hey everybody, what's up? So I got a review for you. It's another movie review. Putting together some game reviews that are going to be posted within the next week. But actually, I was on YouTube on my account and noticed a comment that was made by TestJun25. TestJun25. Sorry, I have a horrible habit of reading stuff and pronouncing it and not. Yes, so Tess goes and she goes, "This review reminds me of another movie." And I'll tell you the story about how I actually saw this movie. I never even heard of it until a friend of mine was talking about it. She goes, "You got to see this movie." I've never seen it. She goes, "Come over to my place. I'll show it to you." I watched the movie. I'm just sitting there like this. Wow. Really liked it. And it was something that I never thought I would like because I do like musicals. Yes, I'm a straight guy who likes musicals, so bite me. Uh, but only certain ones. But so this is actually like a horror musical. If you haven't guessed what it is, I'll give you a hint. Part of it is the first one of the names in it is actually of a Stallone movie. If you haven't guessed by now, it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Um, what is it about this movie that I like? In a nutshell, I'll explain the premise if you've never heard of it. And I know Tim Curry in drag is probably a throw off to some people. There's a lot of lines in this movie that are very funny. The story is that young couple by the name of Brad and Janet are at a wedding, and uh, they end up talking about how lucky this couple is to get married. And Brad's going on. Brad's going on about the guy getting a promotion. She's like, "Oh, she's gonna make a wonderful," and on and on and on. And it goes into a song called "Damn It, Janet." I love it. Makes me want to get a cat named Janet, or a dog even. I don't know. But so they decide that they're going to travel to visit um, a former teacher that they had a class together in, Dr. Scott. And Dr. Scott is the reason they got together. Their car breaks down, and thus begins the adventure into the mad world of Dr. Frankenfurter, transvestites, transsexuals, and oddities, and more. Yes. Now, the thing about this movie, I don't have any props to show you anything like that. It's the way things are. I do have a poster for this movie. Bought a copy for a friend of mine as well. The friend who showed me. What do I like about this movie? I like a lot of the songs that are in here. The Time Warp is probably the best known song of the movie, I think. Meatloaf is actually in here as well. Uh, if you have a chance, get a special edition version because in the special edition version, there's actually stuff that you did not see in some of the normal versions. Um, I even went out and bought the special anniversary soundtrack because there's songs that they don't even put in it, the original one. Um, there's a lot of stuff now. There's a lot of stuff that is implied in this movie, but you don't actually see. You don't know who's. There's like some parts that are like behind curtains, so like all you see is shadows. So you don't know if it's the actual actors doing some of this stuff or not. Um, Dr. Frankenfurter comes in. He has a song called "Sweet Transvestite." Hmm. You kind of slowly see what's going on inside Frankenfurter's mansion, and one of my favorite characters really is Riff Raff the butler. The reason being is he's a little bit on the creepy side, a little bit disturbed. He's the maid's name is Magenta, and she's his sister apparently, and they are yeah going at it a little bit. Um, they do talk about the relationship with Frankenfurter's creation, Rocky. Actually, I kind of find it funny. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Rocky is Frankenfurter's creation, but they don't really like refer to him any other way. Is it horror movie? Is it schlock? It has horror bits to it. It's basically a mashup of old sci-fi movies meets new stuff back in 1975. Um, Tim Curry did get his start in Rocky Horror, and I do think he's a great actor, and I was really surprised to see him in this role. Susan Sarandon plays Janet. Barry Bostwick plays Brad. Um, he's better known. There was a TV show that had Michael J. Fox in it called Spin City. A friend of mine said that in the opening of the show, when it first started, he had like this dream of being on, like a Rocky Horror Picture Us thing. And yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'm kind of interested in it. I haven't looked it up. I know I can probably find it on YouTube, but really haven't. I like the show, but I didn't see all of it. Is there anything bad about this movie? There is, to a degree, a little bit of weirdness to this movie that I don't. I think they could have explained something, um, like why exactly was Frankenfurter on Earth? I wanted to know that. In fact, and that was one of the biggest things. I'm like, okay, he's from this planet called. He's from this planet. He's an alien, and he's in a mansion that can fly, and castle, castle mansion. You don't know. And why did he pick Texas of all places? Most place take, But Dr. Scott does show up, and that's when you really start learning stuff, and you kind of question, how, why was he sent there? Why is Riff Raff there to monitor him? Um, it's kind of interesting how Frankenfurter is egotistical. He's He's a narcissist almost, because he cares more about himself and his experiments than anything else, more than so than the people around him. And you can tell that he's had a relationship with Eddie, the delivery boy, um, Columbia, who's in the mansion as well, and Riff Raff and Magenta don't seem to like her. They don't explain that. I kind of wonder if it's because she's not one of them. If they just see her as, somebody that's in the way. The interesting thing is you think that Frankenfurter, having invented life, you wonder, does that go against the protocol that he was supposed to have? So there's a lot of unanswered questions, I think. I don't like that. I don't like when certain things go unanswered. I know it's just a movie, but there's things that you do think about. And the odd thing is, if you've seen the movie, you know the line after the song "I'm Going Home," where Riff Raff says you're to stay here in this, and what happens next. I'm not going to give a spoiler. It's odd that they don't explain why they treat the situation the way they do. What is it that Frankenfurter did? Was it the creation of Rocky? Was it other things that he's done? And there's kind of a little bit of a weirdness to it, because like when you see Riff Raff and Magenta in their uniforms, and why did they let Brad, Janet, and Dr. Scott go? Their way versus going another direction. And there is apparently a sequel to this movie called Shock Treatment, but it doesn't have any of the original. It doesn't have Brad and Janet, the actors who played them. My friend said it's really not worth watching, so I haven't seen it. One of the things about Rocky Horror Picture Show is, even though it never really was popular, it kind of got a cult following. Stop licking my Game Boy. Sorry, cat's licking something. I don't know what it is with her licking my Game Boys and my phone and other stuff. Um, but you do have these questions of why things go the way they do. But even then, it does kind of have that cult following. Sorry, I got off track there for a moment. Just for, um, and they have midnight showings of the movie. People dress up the part. They act stuff out. I've heard a lot about that stuff. Come to think of it, actually, the first time I heard about the movie was in high school. But somebody was talking about going to the movie and some of the stuff that happened, but I never actually saw it, and forgot about that now. That's right. But my friend was one who got me to watching it, and I bought it, and I watched it. I watch it quite often, not as often as I think a lot of people. And there's stuff that I know by heart. Um, the thing is, this is the part that really disturbs me. Because it's not much as disturbing. It makes me wonder. It's what happened. Because the narrator they call him the criminologist, something like. Can't. Trying to look here if they give his listing. No, they don't. But basically, it goes into the theme song, and then it goes into this guy going, "I'd like to take you on a journey, strange journey," and people are supposed to shout out how strange, and he talks about the whole incident, and it's from a police report. And you're sitting there going, "Why was there a police report?" You start asking yourself these questions, and I know a lot of people watch and they don't think about it. But in the perspective of someone who watches a lot of movies, it does raise questions, and it's kind of like I kind of want to know the answers. But there's stuff that they just don't explain. Given that there are parts of the movie that are a little jumbled, there is a part to this movie that I think needs to be addressed. And there's an issue. If you do go into this movie, please go in mind. First of all, it is R-rated, but number two, there is a lot of sexuality in it, in terms of homosexuality, bisexuality. It raises, it's. I don't have any problem with this. I mean, the stuff that they imply, the stuff that they kind of show, but you don't actually see when it's shadowed. You're like, okay, what's Frankenfurter's a little bit of a male nymphomaniac, or he just, it's like almost like sex in his culture is just whatever, do whatever feels right. I don't know. Um, the one major complaint that I have about this movie, this one major complaint, is they don't explain why Dr. Scott's nephew Eddie he leaves a note, and Dr. Scott goes looking for him. Well, they don't mention Frankenfurter, in the note. They have this song called Eddie's Teddy. So you wonder, well, how did it lead him to Frankenfurter? You kind of know that Dr. Scott is involved with something, but they only go into a little bit, but that's it. Seems like continuity in certain aspects kind of seems to like fluctuate with how they talk about things. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much in the movie, but yeah, that was my one major complaint. Is like, how did he know? How did Frankenfurter know about Doctor. Well, I think Eddie could have probably told him, but there would be no reason for him to tell him everything. At least questions. It is a great movie overall. If you like musicals, if you like a little bit of cornballness, if you like weird stuff, then I recommend the movie. I wouldn't recommend, if you prefer a home experience, get a DVD, go on to Netflix. You can get it anywhere. Especially around Halloween, it's everywhere. That's when I bought mine. Um, go into this movie with an open mind. Don't don't look at the outside and go, oh gee, they're the guy in drag. He's the what the terms. Just go into it, watch it. You can walk away from this movie, and you can go back and you can want to watch it because there's stuff that the friend of mine was pointing out, and she's like, "No, you gotta go back, rewind." Like, look, this is from this guy from Monty Python. I don't remember who. And if you go back and you watch it, there's stuff like in the background that you may miss one time, but you catch the other. Or there's certain things that are being said. The start of the time warp, funny as hell. The whole time warp thing is funny, especially the end. Brad makes this comment, and he's talking to Janet, and they're having this little dialogue before Frankenfurter shows up. But overall, go into it with an open mind, watch it, enjoy it. If you don't, so be it. It's not a movie for everyone. Every single movie is not for everyone. This is just one of those that, because I love weird stuff, because I like musicals, um, overall, because it just has a great cast. The story, 80% of it is really great, and I just love how they all handle it. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much, Tess, for the idea. Appreciate it. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.